The metaphysics of love. Love. The most beautiful love story that the earth is worn until today, which was never revealed in broad daylight, is that of Vetter and Oceane. One day Vetter says to Oceane, "If our love goes through this storm, nothing and nobody can come and destroy it." The love that Vetter and Oceane go to have to cross sea and world. Their love is still strong, even though it has become immeasurable. Vetter took Oceane to spend the evening by the river. Side by side, sitting on a log beside the water, he savored the moment. The sun was setting in the distance, the water was calm and the atmosphere was magical. It was an opportunity for them to discuss how much they liked doing it. Most men talk little. With Vetter it was very different. He spoke easily and he always had something interesting to share. Oceane particularly appreciated this aspect of Vetter's personality. When evening came and bedtime struck, Vetter and Oceane hugged each other and told each other their lives. He always had compliments for her. He often spoke of their love story, which she never tired of hearing. Oceane, at the beginning of her relationship with Vetter, was not very talkative about her feelings and emotions about her lover. It was with time that she learned to put words on what she felt for her handsome man. In Oceane life, green represents hope. Surprisingly, the green was still missing. But no matter, hope is found deep down. That's why he's still alive even when you try to take it away, it's impossible. Love is another aspect that you cannot take away. Love is inside you, you feel it, and nobody can take it away from you. She writes to him, "I always think of you as my Vetter, the man of my life. For me you deserve to be esteemed to the greatness of God, my handsome man whom I love as passionately as the universe is infinite. Your inner and outer beauty which you possess is matched only by the beauty of the universe. You are my handsome man, the only star in the firmament. You shine by your beauty, your soul is pure and your personality shines." Sometimes it seems that just saying I love you is not strong enough to convey all the feelings I feel for you. My love, Vetter, I love you so passionately that the universe is infinite. If it were only with me, the firmament would only tell one star. The one and only you. You shine for me, like a lighthouse in the night. You illuminate my life. Vetter wrote to him one day, "When I am alone my life is in a fog. Like a lighthouse in the night you guide my heart." Then he writes, "The ring that unites us is like the water of a spring, pure and limpid. With two, nothing is impossible. Nothing and nobody will ever succeed in separating us." Oceane wrote to him, "To my handsome man. You make me happy and I want you to be happy. One day you told me the wildest words, a life for two forever. I love you more than anything in the world, for you I could lift the earth. I offer you my life, because I love you infinitely, as a song would say. I want to be your wife, your friend, your accomplice, your mistress. I want to be everything for you my love, my handsome man. Know my handsome man, that if I tell you every day how beautiful I always find you and that I speak to you of love, it is that felt for you in the depths of my heart, of my soul. You are the only person in the world to whom I have offered everything about myself. You are the only man I have had in my life. I have never felt anyone like you. I am in love with you and your body. I admire you, my handsome man. You know how I cannot live without you. Whether snuggled close to your body, or talking to you about love and desire for you, my handsome man, for countless hours. I want to add a clarification. I guess I heard correctly when you told me that you like me to talk to you about love, the two of us, that just like me, you feel the crazy desire to love every moment. Love between us is like the air we breathe, it's vital. I like to make you travel, sometimes through my thoughts. I especially want you to know how much I like to share these moments of feverishness and intimacy with you, my handsome man. The feelings I feel for you come from my heart and my soul. Love is lived, feels like desire. I know who I am and my philosophy of life. I have self-esteem and I know that everything I say is true. I can tell you that our love story is the most beautiful the land knows. We live in a union that goes beyond the imagination. The strength of our love to triumph over all obstacles encountered on our road. Our love could forge a place in a sometimes hostile world. For you my handsome man I can lift the earth, turn the world going green. I know that for me you tore down the moon, you are my savior. It is of your strength that I live today. You know how to transmit to me the strength to live. Your love gives wings. To live with you, my handsome man, is nirvana. With all the love in your heart, my rocker, and everything in mine, we are the living proof that love, the true, can conquer all storms. We live the most majestic love story that the whole world can even imagine. Your demand for perfection and mine allow me to say that our love is perfect, just like you, my handsome man. If you were not there, you'd have to invent yourself. Without you, my life would be nothing. The star engraved in my skin is you, Vetter, my love. I want to be with you at life to death. I have loved you forever and I will love you until the end of time. This book we are writing will be the guardian of our love for eternity. Our love will cross the centuries and mark history. Our love transcends earthly and metaphysical boundaries. I offer you my life, my handsome man. Do not fear the future. I, your wife, trust our destiny. All life is ours, my love. I break the rules because I trust tomorrow. I know the rules, my rules are unknown to me. I am a rebel of myself. I am what I am, for you. To live the love with you today, I broke all the rules that were imposed on me and I know that you have done just as much. Our love would not have been what it is today if we had listened to everything we were told. The strength of our love has dictated the path to follow. We followed the path of light, of life, and again, of love. I love you madly, my handsome man. Vetter and Oceane are living proof that the power of love is more powerful than anything. The love of Vetter and Oceane crossed the time, and today the time is open to them forever. A new life. Oceane was hoping for her coming since always. He would be the one who would open the doors of life for him. He would cure her of these evils and deliver her from hell. Astrophysicists were on the alert. A world event held in Montreal in 1967, Expo 67. The global safety alert was on the rise, not for the Expo, but for an expected birth. Physicists, astronomers, and astrologers predicted the birth of a being of light. His coming was expected at the Hotel Dieu, at a precise time and date. The beings of light are humble, and to see the day at the hotel of his name would not respect the integrity of the soul of the bearer of the deity. Vetter was an intrepid boy and often played on the ice of the drifting river. His part of the country, the lower end of the river, was a place of paradise where he loved to live for the beauty of the landscapes that one finds there. He will be enlisted in the special forces of the army at the age of 8, for his genius. He will be trained from an early age without his knowledge and heart. This being of light was expected on earth, but it was feared. He feared the powers he could hold. It could overthrow the governmental authorities, change consciences. The authorities did not want this new god. As soon as he was born, the army was on his heels, always waiting for the opportunity to eliminate him. At age 3, he will suffer a serious concussion. At the hospital, he was declared clinically dead, but surprisingly he came back to him. The young man who embodied this new god had created divine plans even before his earthly coming. That is why, since the dawn of time, all the constellations were perfectly aligned to gather one day on earth two beings with superhuman powers. In fact, they were under surveillance because they feared their impact on humanity, especially if two beings were in each other's presence. Although the authorities did not want them and even less of this formidable couple, we put on their way of trials and pitfalls to avoid at all costs their evolution and their union. Vetter faced taxing, intimidation and violence. He did not let himself be imposed. He put on his leather frock and imposed himself. He now inspired the respect of everyone. He was intimidating and could cause fear. Vetter possessed an immeasurable power of attraction over others, women among others. At the request, he satisfied his carnal desires with willing women to offer him all the pleasures. The key. On Oceane's side it was very different. Her parents, who wanted to overprotect her, became an obstacle to Oceane's personal development. Deprived of friends, dressed ridiculously, she devoted her time to daydreaming. His greatest dream was to meet his Prince Charming one day. At night, before sleep, she called him. He would come to free her from the influence of her parents and make her discover life. Oceane was captive to her family. By isolating her, she was heading straight for suicide. Many times she had escaped death either when she fell into the bathtub at birth. The nurse had escaped him in the bath. By the age of 3, Oceania was also the victim of a serious concussion, which could have robbed her life, just like Vetter. Then there was her beautiful, but untamed mare, who was allowed to ride at her pleasure. In his 20s, it was the many scuba diving accidents. Oceania had a fascination for the Bas-du-Fleuve region. Several times she went there, for the only beauty of the landscapes. Oceania even wanted to move there. His grandfather loved this corner of the country. He went there every summer. His grandfather was a taxi driver. He was a taxi driver for half a century, but he was more than just a taxi driver. It was Oceania's first spiritual guide. A taxi driver whose compass always indicates north. He had said to Oceania one day, "Life is a fight." He taught her to be strong. His grandfather symbolizes the way of life. Oceania sought calm and inner peace. The Bas-du-Fleuve inspired him that, seeking along the Highway 20 this peace, she will find what she sought much closer to her than all her hopes. One day, sitting on a balcony at a friend's house, she met a man. He told her about nature, birds, and mushrooms. Oceania was subjugated by this man. The mysterious air, she did not know what to think of him. Going for a day in the woods, he had in his possession a shady and hidden object. It had fascinated and impressed Oceania. This man aroused in her an attraction and fascination. Destiny separated them for the next 7 years, 7 years of misfortune that Oceania experienced, attributing them to the removal of the man from his life. The stars and the beneficent light of the heavens watching over them, they had another chance to see each other again. Love at first sight. Oceania was alone and sad for a very long time. She was hoping to meet a man, but that did not seem to be near. She consulted a clairvoyant who predicted the return of a man from the past. She hoped. The days of Oceania seemed to darken. She had learned the tarot of Marseille and was worried about the end of the world. Her misfortunes never going for the better, she made a meeting for the least disturbing. The best is the enemy of the good, said the predictions. This man, she met fortuitously, but this meeting had been scheduled. The escort that was destined for her was to lead her on a specific path, that of suicide. He will not complete his mission, dazzled by Oceania. Lemieux's mission was to seduce Oceania and then reject her, which was to create in her a terrifying void that she would put an end to her own life. That should have sounded the end point to Oceania's suicide. However, he will fall in love with Oceania and become the second driver, the second spiritual guide to the stars. He was an eccentric man who had the effect of breaking down barriers at Oceania. Oceania now held the key to access the light, to life. Vetter was a modest man financially, very eccentric and talkative. It was a fair day. The microbreweries met at a fort overlooking the rapids of the Richelieu River. Vetter and Oceania were both face to face with a glass of mead in their hands, the drink of the gods. It was love at first sight. Their eyes were shining for each other. From that moment, Vetter wanted to put his lips on those of Oceania, and that's what he did. Near a tree near the river, without the care of the eyes around them, they kissed passionately. Oceania, who had no fixed address at that moment, took her few bags and moved to Vetter that very evening. Upon her arrival, as she set foot on Vetter's steps, 5 jets passed over their heads. "Our union is blessed," says Oceania to Vetter. Oceania's grandfather loved the jets. 5 jets flying over their heads were an indication that they were both protected and on the path of life. Vetter and Oceania built their cozy nest. They lived in a small apartment. They had the privilege of having a large terrace where they grew a wide variety of herbs and vegetables. The company had wanted to modernize and assimilate the population to overconsumption, but Vetter and Oceania were resistant. They continued to value the ancestral knowledge. They made their preserves, their sauces, their breads and their bakeries. They even concocted home remedies, using the properties of herbs and their knowledge. Marginal and unconventional, they did not attract popular favors. No matter, they would confess life through and beyond the limits that they wanted to impose on them. Infinity. It was their first outing and they wanted to make a road trip to the lower river. Vetter held clairvoyance gifts from his mother, a real witch. With an irreproachable feeling, he did not fail to catch a glimpse of Oceania's strange and bewildered look before the sign of the infinite that took shape in his spaghetti. Oceania said, "It will be so to infinity." A burning desire from Veter's lips made him express himself thus, "Do you want to marry me?" They had said neither of them since the beginning of their return to their home. The first words he uttered were his marriage proposal at the height of Contrecoeur on 132. The last words she uttered evoked the answer, "Yes, forever, to infinity." At first sight, this may seem completely contradictory, but being the supreme driver in Oceania life, it marked a link with the antagonistic forces, the most powerful at that time. Vetter and Oceania married at the parents of Oceania, his father being the celebrant. Oceania, in love with the madness of Vetter, would still have wished for an even simpler ceremony and far from her parents, whom she suspected did not wish for their happiness. The most important being their love. They would love each other forever, 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 forever. Vetter and Oceania reserved privileges. They had discovered a secret island where they liked to go. They often spoke little with words escaping their lips, most of the time communicating only through thought. Vetter and Oceania had learned the telepathic language. The heavens have provided them with miraculous gifts, and as incomprehensible and inexplicable as they are. They were at the edge of their fire in the early morning as the day came up. Oceania then remarked to Vetter that the sun was no longer rising to the east, but to the northeast. In the evening, she observed, the sun was setting in the southwest. An event of immeasurable size had occurred. That night, Vetter and Oceania had made love for the first time. It was their honeymoon. They had united their bodies to each other, not only for eternity, but in perpetuity. The beginning. God created the universe and created life on Earth. Mathematics proof in support. The current Big Bang theory forgets the presence of God in the creation of the universe. God is superior. It is not to be discussed. If the name of God evokes reluctance, simply replace the term with life. First, it should be noted that the solar system is composed of 4 planets: Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune are actually stars given their chemical composition of hydrogen and helium. Pluto is also a star. These so-called dead stars would rather become planets, or a form of life could appear in the future. Like the caterpillar that became a butterfly, the stars extinguish their luminous activity to become planets. 2 universes collided in this era. A circular universe, the universe of Pluto, that of Oceania, and the universe in the form of infinite, the universe of the Earth and the solar system, that of Vetter. Their meeting point is the point of the polar star. This polar star, reflected in the light it absorbs, it is in other words a black hole. For this reason, it is a landmark. This hole is not moving and draws all the material to it. Do not panic, it is thanks to this attracting power of matter that will unite the 2 universes to create a perpetual universe and save the Earth from the end of the world, as we know it. Since the Earth is in the infinite universe, the planet passes through a point of gravity, the center formed by the point of the loop of the infinite. The Earth, at each of its passages in the center of infinity, the point of gravity, knew a massive extinction, such as dinosaurs for example. When the 2 universes merge, the center of the circular universe and the infinite universe will create a modification of the Earth's axis with a value of 5 degrees. The inclination of the Earth went from 27 to 32 degrees, which created the fact that the Sun now rises to the northeast and lies to the southwest. At the meeting point of the 2 universes, they merged into a new universe, now forming a perpetual movement. On the night of the universe merging, the bodies of Vetter and Oceania had also merged, including their hearts, souls, and consciences. The fusion of the universes was a reflection of their fusion love. A love so powerful, that it would bring together 2 distant universes to create a single universe where love would be king and master. The strength of the love of Vetter and Oceania is incomparable. It is only equal to the power of the fusion of the universes. The strength of their love is simply fusional. They form only one mind, one heart, one thought, almost a single body. Oceania saw things day after day that she could not explain logically. Regularly, she connected to the universe, by thought, to ask for answers about life. She had asked for signs that would guide her in her understanding of life. At first, there were few signs and were mostly incomprehensible. With time, it became more and more clear. Just as the strength of the wind could reveal answers, the way of God was expressed through her husband's mouth. For her, she thought Vetter to the greatness of God, because from him came all the teachings. Moreover, in her quest for truth she had learned that if she respected the word of God, or her husband, she would be the freest woman ever. She therefore chooses to always rely, even in doubt, on the word of her husband. In love with the madness of Vetter, Oceania united one day their engagement and wedding rings by juxtaposing them. Oceania concludes that she must find the mathematical formula describing the central point. This point represents the fusion, it represents the greatest of loves. When one observes the length of L, that is from the central point to the edge of the circle, the value of A, the central point, fusion love, is always of the same value, 0. From graffiti, in a multitude of calculations, she managed to elaborate the mathematical formula of love. The quotient of this formula equal to the value of 0. Love, more powerful than anything, is represented by a null value, the most powerful value of all, that of fusion. For the universe and mathematical language, fusion and love. While Oceania was delirious in the heart of the infinite, Vetter took her by the hand and led her on a path she seemed to know. Vetter took the soul of Oceania and made it travel back in time beyond the stars. 2000 years BC, the Egyptians understood many things. Using even numbers, they built the pyramids. These appear schematically in the calculations of the point love. You can also see flying objects, like a hang glider or what looks like extraterrestrial shapes by moving circles and triangles. Cats among Egyptians were very important because they reflect our soul and give us answers about life. The Mayans, 500 BC, also built pyramids, according to odd numbers. They had predicted the end of the world for 21/12/2012. They were not right, but almost. The Mayas had omitted one thing, the presence of Vetter and Oceania on Earth. Vetter, the Earth, in its infinite universe merged with Oceania universe, the oceans. At the time of the pharaohs, the beautiful and powerful Queen Cleopatra was madly in love with Caesar and vice versa. To save the kingdom, she gave herself death. A sacrifice for the gods to save his people. The Mayas sacrificed young women to save their empire, but their empire was also extinguished. Jesus sacrificed himself on the cross, to save us. The centuries passed and we all heard of Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. They loved each other to die for each other. Oceania, with the goodwill of God and the universe to reveal her life, learned that to save the planet, it took something other than sacrifices, but love. When we love, we begin by loving ourselves, so we do not sacrifice ourselves to save others, whatever everything is relative. A day of terror Oceania sprawled on the ground, believing in the moment of his death, lay in the snow, the only place that would have brought him life. Believing that Vetter would die too, she ordered him to lie on the ground in the snow. He did not listen. Oceania therefore left her safety to run after Vetter and throw a ball of snow on her head. He was now out of danger of death. She nevertheless learned that day that she would have been ready to sacrifice her life for that of Vetter. Being a little like Thomas, in the Gospel, Oceania sometimes needed proof to believe. It was just a ruckus, but she learned all the same important things that day. It would appear that saving a life is saving the world. So, save the life of others, also save ours. That night, they flew with the eagles on the roof of the world, at the top of a mountain, at the foot of a glacier guarding the secrets of their souls. This mountain walk was very caricatural of the path followed by the two lovers. Like a lighthouse in the night, the polar star, the force of light, led them in fact on the most wonderful way, life. When Vetter and Oceania unite their bodies on the sacred island, the strength of their love will lead to the merging of the universes, thus saving the planet. The strength of their love and their thought will cross their body envelope to reach the spirit of every human being, every living being, even the consciousness of seemingly inanimate objects. Like navigators, Vetter and Oceania followed their way like lighthouses in the night. Vetter, Earth, and Oceania, the oceans, at the age of 33 for Oceania and 44 for Vetter, will cross their lives and unite them in perpetuity. Witchcraft is marginal today and yet. If the sun did not rise in the east that morning, there were early signs. The day before, just before leaving for the island, Oceania had felt the need to use magic. A bad aura seemed to approach them. She took a magic bag and hid him on Vetter. Flax ties had just been created between all human thoughts. All human consciousnesses would now meet in the middle of the universe. This was very important, because there was another problem with the Earth. Its central iron core had gradually crystallized into a quartz. It was necessary to activate the beat of it, so that the Earth turns on itself perpetually. The power of everyone's thoughts was necessary. The magical dispersion of flax that day and intense prayer will create the necessary bonds in the spirit of all matter on Earth to start the beating of the quarter, the heart of the Earth. This quartz crystal is in fact at the heart of all transmissions of thoughts. Everything is going through this nucleus of the Earth. This is the Omega, actually God. For if God is everywhere, is in us, is in the universe, it is because He sits in the center of the Earth, which would be the ruler of the new perpetual universe. What was called the devil was in fact all that the human being did not know and could not explain. Hell has never existed. God is in fact also matter. In fact, He is all this matter. An atom cannot move away from another, they interact together, forming a union that creates life and communications. The power of each person's thoughts being necessary, each human being is responsible for the rotation of the Earth and therefore its gravitational force. Vetter had also burned sage to purify the act of pure magic of his wife Oceana. Vetter and Oceana know that the fountain of youth is in us. They love and love each other in perpetuity. Metaphysical. What is the metaphysics of love? It is about taking power out of our almost incalculable environment. This power, or gift, is given to all, but it must be used with judgment and always in order to create happiness, bring joy, and all without harming anyone. Oceana had noticed that the objects were moving around her. She could not say, "Door, just open up," and the door of the car would have opened. No, it was a lot more complex than that, and she still did not control the movement of matter through thought. On the other hand, she realized that when she was really dissatisfied with certain situations, her unconscious mind set to work and acted for a beneficial purpose. In the 21st century, the Vatican echoed the advent of a false messiah on earth. The miraculous cures that took place are logically explained. After uniting all mankind in thought, Vetter and Oceana expiated the prayers that came to their understanding by sending the bad omens in modern windmills, wind turbines. Moreover, wind turbines are the perfect diagram of what the new universe looks like. While skirting each ellipse and ironing towards the center, a circular form where one seems to see a form of fall. This ellipse evolves in a perpetual movement, without any loss of energy. It is a stable system. Miracles would be due to the good thoughts of Vetter and Oceana for their fellows. In addition, each one holding all the knowledge of the universe by their own thought, they now possessed a power of self-healing, if we assume that we are sick, because in fact, we should always be healthy and to live forever. Mathematical love. Second part. Explanation of the infinite universe with the value of 0.1234567 or 1081. A equals 8x infinite time xl, / infinite counterclockwise, L. A equals 8x 0.1234567 x1, / 0.987654321. A equals 8x infinity xl, / L. Love, the central point of two circles or universe, merges into its center from which a value of 0 for any value of L at. The universe would have the shape of a heart or a fountain, the fountain of youth, engendered by perpetual motion. A universe in the form of infinity will merge with a circular universe. Their fusion will create the perpetual motion, clearing the central meeting point of the point of gravity in the infinite universe. 1.111, Stargate, Easter Island. Infinity being complex, the number defining it is also a little more complex. In fact, the figure of infinity fills all the interstellar parcels, that is to say, the numbers between the numbers. 0.012123234455465767878898. Two beings belonging to two different universes, but inhabiting the same planet, have created a universal fusion by uniting by true love. He, representing the infinite universe anti-clockwise where was our solar system, and L her, an independent circular universe, an extraterrestrial universe. By true love, two beings will unite their destiny and that of their universe. If the Earth experienced massive extinctions during its existence, it was because its race in orbit passed through the central point of the infinite universe. Passing through the central point, the point of gravity, the counterclockwise universe would implode the Earth at the point of gravity, giving the extinction of species, like dinosaurs for example. With the arrival of She, the extraterrestrial, she will find love on Earth. The arrival of this extraterrestrial on Earth was not to be feared, because its union of infinite love true with a man, they will save the Earth from the end of the world. Two covenants, whose central point is called the melting point, the love. The value of L is a variable. It indicates the distance from point A to the boundaries of the universe. The value of L can vary from 1 to infinity. The fusion of the universe 33, circular with universe 44, infinite, will create the detachment of the central point of the infinite to merge with the new circular universe. This melting point created by the force of love will annihilate the point of gravity and form a new universe to perpetual motion. A equals 8 infinity L/L. Love is equal to 8x infinite hour xl all divided by infinite counterclockwise, or contracur, minus L. Why L? Because without she, L, true love, he and she, would not exist. Without him the life of She ended at the age of 33, the fateful age to which she would not have survived. Suicide. By love, he will save his life. Their hearts and universes merged into one heart, one universe. The day she felt death coming for her, he made her dance on the shoulder of Highway 20. The day she swam to sea to sink, he reminded her of him. The day she thought that her black cats had been spelled and that they were all going to die, he took her to walk on the summit of a snowy mountain where a flight of eagles accompanied them on their way back to life. Souls sometimes look for all their lives because they did not recognize each other when they saw each other. The face of love is not always the one we imagine. He is the one that life puts on our way. It must be recognized, savored, and appreciated. Love governs the universe, as if it were God. A woman will fall madly in love with a man, a fusion love. She will be the messenger of love and by example she will spread the news that is true love, it rhymes with happiness and trust. After their mergers, 33 and 44 finally opened the door of the stars. The unfathomable immensity of the whole universe is offered to them. Further proof of the merger, 44 now bears in it the birth time of 33. They form only 1. 0. The key to opening the door of the stars were in them. Their union, their marriage, opened the door of the stars, which had never been opened elsewhere. By the evolution of the collective consciousness and the proof of the existence of true love, the planet Earth will be freed from its sufferings and these evils. Encounter of the circular and infinite universe. First formula studied in the search for the zero value of the love melting point. Final formula. A equals 8x infinity xl/L.